As seems to be tradition, the night before a big GPU launch, videocards.com has the 3D Mark synthetic benchmarks, this time for the 5090, and they're claiming their own sources as friendly reviewers. It's not me, but apparently some reviewers are a little less shy with leaking out their information. Interesting. Anyway, they're showing overall uplifts scores here. Now, when they're getting reporting these scores, they're saying they've spoken to multiple review outlets and averaged them, and you can see these results here. But then when they're giving their comparison data points, they're using kind of the official average results on these online databases. So there you go. Now, should you trust videocards.com not to just be making up this information? Well, like I said, they have done this for a lot of graphics card launches, and when they claim sources the night before from friendly reviewers, it does tend to line up with what you end up seeing from reviewers when the reviews actually go live. So anyway, there's that. Now, do keep in mind that the average results aren't necessarily on the same systems as these 5090s were tested on, so that is a potential difference. Also, they're giving a bit of a disclaimer here, where they're saying that, well, these scores are showing a 36% uplift in Firestrike, a 33% uplift in Time Spy, and a 46% uplift for other tests like Speedway, Port Royal, and Steel Nomad, and this is all compared to the 4090 averages. They're saying that, according to these same reviewers that they spoke with, that the gaming performance on average is only about a 20% performance improvement over the 4090, where that certainly sounds much lower. So anyway, that's what videocards.com has for you today. All my sources will be linked in the video description. And I cannot give you any of my personal thoughts on this news because you will be seeing official reviews from me very soon. Now, I do head-to-head benchmarks on my channel, so what you should look at as soon as reviews are allowed to go live is a 5090 versus 4090 head-to-head. And I'm gonna test everything you'll want to see. I do look at native resolution, but I also look at upscaling. I'm even going to look at the new transformer model versus the CNN model on both the 5090 and 4090 in order to compare if there's any performance differences. I'll also give you some initial thoughts on the image quality there. I will also test frame generation, including the x2 and the new x4 mode. So we can see the 4090 and 5090 both in their x2 modes. And we'll see the x4 versus the x2 that the 4090 is capable of if you're just like, if you want to max out the frame generation on each card, what does that look like? I'm going to be testing, the latest games, graphically demanding games, multiple resolutions and upscaling settings, ray tracing, non-ray tracing, all of that. And then expect a follow-up video with more detailed thoughts on multi-frame generation in general. How usable is it? I did spend some time just playing games to get a feel for multi-frame generation, and again, I'll have a video with my thoughts on that. And then also expect some other head-to-head content, like 3090 versus 5090. Is it worth the upgrade? 7900 XTX, if you're on the previous generation highest AMD product and they're not going to be competing directly with the 5090 according to rumors, well then maybe you're interested in jumping over to Team Green if you're the kind of upgrade to a Halo product every generation kind of person. So I will get a 7900 XTX versus a 5090 review out as well. But again, the day one content will be 4090 versus 5090. All of my head-to-head stuff, oh, by the way, I'll also be doing 4080 Super versus 5090 as well. All of my head-to-head benchmarks are going to be available as soon as I have them finished on my members feed. But in the actual YouTube algorithm, things will probably need to be spaced out over the course of a couple of days, maybe. So I'm not posting a whole bunch of videos all at once and competing with my own videos in the YouTube algorithm, click-through rate, and things like that. So anyway, that's kind of my plans for the initial coverage on all of this. And these are the leaked benchmarks we have the night before. Now, when it comes to actually buying these things, we're starting to see a number of reports that retailers, AIBs, and system integrators warn of GeForce RTX 50 series shortages and delays. And that's also especially not great because if you look at, trying to buy a new 40 series GPU right now, it's very clear that Nvidia has tried to ramp down production on 40 series in time to not have them in massive supply to be competing directly with their own 50 series. Especially cards like the 4090 right now are insanely expensive if you try to buy one new, because I don't think they've been producing new ones that regularly here. Videocards.com is citing a number of sources. They have Power GPU stating, warning you all now, the launch of the RTX 5090 will be the worst when it comes to availability, already being told to expect it to be that way for the first 3 months. We have a source here saying that this is Tak Mall from Zotac Korea. We have received many inquiries regarding the sales schedules of the RTX 50 series and would like to provide an update. The RTX 5090 model from Zotac Korea is expected to arrive in February. Please note that sales and delivery will not be possible on January 30th, which is the initially mentioned launch date. RTX 5090 is scheduled to be available for sale in early February. However, due to external factors, the arrival date may be delayed until mid-February. We kindly ask for your understanding in this matter. As for the RTX 5080 model, we are still confirming the arrival schedule. Once the schedule is finalized, we will provide another update. We sincerely thank all our customers for their interest and inquiries regarding Zotac Korea and Tak Mall. Benchlife saying, for Nvidia, we will see GeForce RTX 5090 and RTX 5080 go on sale on January 30th, but we can confirm that there are not many supplies on the market. This is mainly due to some communication issues between Nvidia and AIC partners. That's like, ASUS, MSI, the board partners. As well as the Spring Festival factors are expected to improve in February. In addition, we expect to see the GeForce RTX 5070 Ti starting to appear on the channel in mid to late February. Okay, anyway, good job, video cards. All my sources will be in the video description to kind of round up all of those various sources, but in general, we'll have to see what supply ends up looking like, and hopefully we don't get into a case where things are sold out and being scalped at massive markups. Or if we do, hopefully at least returns to normal quickly after that. Now, one question a lot of people have about the 5090 is, wait, is it using the same connector as the 4090, and is that going to melt? So Quasar Zone, which is a Korean language outlet, has asked an Nvidia representative that direct question and got a response saying, when the RTX 40 series was released, the auxiliary power supply was changed. By the way, this is machine translated by my web browser into English. So again, this is not the native language of what we're actually looking at here. Anyway, the auxiliary power supply was changed to a new 12+4 pin standard. However, with this new standard, especially in their RTX 4090 product, there was an issue with the connector melting due to overheating. Has this been resolved in the RTX 5090? Answer from Nvidia, I don't expect that to happen with the RTX 50 series. We made some changes to the connectors to address the issue at the time, and I understand that the issue has not occurred in about 2 years. So they're saying, the ones that were melting, there has been some changes. They haven't seen reports of it melting recently on the new connector design, and they're not expecting that to be an issue for this series. We'll have to see what really happens, but that's NVIDIA's official response. This is an interesting interview with a lot of other information you might want to check out. Sources will be linked in the video description. Now, I pointed out that if you are going to be interested in a 5090, you might want to be conscious of what CPU you have in your system. Because it is, especially if you're using DLSS aggressively, very possible to get CPU bottlenecked even at 4K monitor, because if you're using DLSS performance, for example, that's a 1080p internal rendering resolution. You're hitting high frame rates. So if you're upgrading from like a 3090 to a 5090, you want to be mindful of, are you still on like a 5000 series Ryzen CPU or something like that might have trouble keeping up. With that in mind, what about the 9800X3D, or should you wait for the 9950X3D? Light background here, warning, squint, minimize the browser if you're sensitive to bright lights. Okay, this is from videogamer.com. They have some questions answered directly from AMD's product and business development manager, asking about how the Ryzen 9 9950X3D compares to the 9800X3D. Specifically, the product manager has revealed the company expects to see both the 9950X3D and 9900X3D to provide similar overall gaming performance to the 9800X3D. Saying there will be some games that perform a bit better if the game engine utilizes more cores and threads, and some games will perform a little worse if the game engine favors a 1 CCD configuration, but on the whole, the experience is comparable. So in other words, don't necessarily wait on a 9950X3D to build your 5090 system. The 9800X3D, if you can get one in stock at a reasonable price right now, that's another question, shouldn't be any worse in gaming overall than that. Last bit of news that I saw that may be of interest to you is, hey, what about Kingpin? Is he going to have a 5090? Well, the official announcement on his YouTube channel is that there will not be a 50 series card. He says there's no my card, speaking of Kingpin card, this generation, it can't come for Gen 5. It's impossible. There are just too many issues over here, and it would create a lot of problems if I jumped on board so quickly. Still, I can't really say much about that. Well, because it has to do with my previous contractual stuff. I love graphics cards, I love making graphics cards, and for sure I don't think that's going to die. But I think we'll have to wait, still have to wait for another generation. And who knows, maybe it won't be Team Green, maybe it'll be another color. So are we gonna get a Radeon Kingpin card? I don't know, I don't think that means he has that deal in line, it just might mean that he's considering it. Anyway, that's what I've got for you guys in the news today. And I hope to see you guys again soon for some 5090 reviews. We're almost there, guys. Have an excellent day.